is facing serious challenges. It also has some resources to bring to bear. So the challenges are partly outside its control. Climate change in particular is going to hit Madagascar very, very hard. I think the drought in southern Madagascar right now is a harbinger, a sign of things to come. And so it's very, very important for Madagascar to work with the international community to strengthen its adaptation to climate change and to get ahead of that problem. While I was here, people also informed me of serious problems concerning illegal trafficking, and the links between illegal trafficking and corruption are quite serious. It's also very important for environmentalists to be able to operate freely and for local communities to be able to speak out against or in favor of projects without concern. That space for civil society is very important. I raised these concerns and points with the government, and I respect their commitments to address anti-corruption, to address corruption and illegal trafficking. And my main point on that is that the steps need to be taken quickly and effectively to restore public trust in the institutions that exist to protect the environment.
What does the international community needs to do to help Madagascar face climate change?
The most important thing is that the international community needs to, well, as you know, the Paris Agreement on Climate Change enters into force this Friday, November 4th. The international community needs to take effective measures to reduce, the major emitters need to take effective measures to implement their commitments to reduce greenhouse gases and to immediately start to consider strengthening them, because the path the world is on now is still too much. We are still going to have too much global warming. And again, it is countries like Madagascar, an island country in the middle of the Indian Ocean that's already susceptible to cyclones, it's already susceptible to droughts, that will feel the effects. But in addition, the developed countries of the world have to carry out their commitments to provide resources to enable countries like Madagascar to adapt to the effects of climate change, because some of the effects are now unavoidable. We are going to see more and more effects of climate change, and that is going to cause real effects on the human rights of people living in Madagascar and other African and other vulnerable countries. So I think the Paris Agreement was a very good first step, and it's very heartening that so many countries have already agreed to it, including the major emitters like the United States and the EU and China. But you know, the honeymoon is now over for the Paris Agreement, and it's time for the real work to begin, and countries need to start doing more and more, faster and faster, to make that happen. But El Nino, as exacerbated by climate change, is having extremely consequential effects, as I understand it, on the human rights of the people who live in southern Madagascar.
You seem to say that drought is just the beginning. It's going to be more and more drastic changes because of climate change. How is it going to appear in the next few years?
So I'm not a scientist, but my understanding from scientists is that the frequency of droughts will increase, so that a drought that might have appeared every 5 years now may appear every 2 or 3 years, and so forth. In other parts of Madagascar where you already have problems with flooding, that weather may intensify as well, so that cyclones are expected to become more intense. The problem with making specific predictions about climate change is that its effects can be very unpredictable. But that unpredictability itself is a major problem, since it makes it more difficult for the people and the government and other institutions to anticipate and adapt to the changes. And so climate change is going to, again, exacerbate, it's going to make worse existing problems. First, I did not actually go to the community, but I met with community members here. So I did not really investigate the case. However, I did hear their concerns, and I presented those concerns to the government.
zavatra nambaran'ireo solotena tany Somaman'ireo izy ary nampita an'izay ihany koa tamin'ireo solotenam-panjakana.
So, as I said, I am not a judge. I'm not here to judge the case.
Izy moa zany efa nambarany imbenimbeny fa tsy mpitsara izy ary tsy tsara nizaniza no natongavany aty.
However, I did emphasize to the government that everyone has the human rights to speak freely on environmental issues, including to associate with others on environmental issues, and to protest against activities, against mining or other development activities.
Fa efa nambarany ihany koa tamin'ireo mpitondra fanjakana eto Madagasikara zany fa ny olombelona tsirairay dia manana zoa hiteny ankalalahana ny heviny, manana zoa hivondrona ao anatina fikambanana ary manana zoa aneho hevitra hankalalahana, hampilaminana amin'ny fanoherana ny tetikasa na ny asa mitranga eo amin'ny toerana izay hihinana.
Of course, the protests have to be peaceful and respect the rights of others.
Mazava ho azy fa na dia toeriny ara zany ny fisiany fitrandrahana eo amin'ny toerana honenany dia fanoherana ataony kosa dia mila atao ampilaminana sy ampanajana ny lalàna.
But as long as they are peaceful protests, then they should be protected by human rights.
Ary rehefa manao faneho-kevitra ampilaminana izy dia zony ny manana mahazo fiarovana ary koa fiarovana zony.
I agree with the statement of the National Human Rights Commission that the government should respect the presumption of innocence for the people who have been arrested, that it should resolve their case quickly and fairly. I also believe that it's very important for the conflict in that community and in other communities to be peacefully resolved.
Miombon-kevitra amin'ny Commission nationale indépendante des droits de l'homme ihany koa izy ilay milaza hoe tokony hajaina zany ny présomption d'innocence ho an'ireo olona izay voasambotra ary tokony alefa haingana ihany koa ny fitsarana azy ary ny zava-mitranga toy izao na ao Somamanina na any amin'ny toeran-kafa dia tokony alamina ao anatin'ny tokony aravina ao anatin'ny filaminana.
So in that respect, I encouraged the government, I suggested to the government that it consider instituting a new conciliation, mediation commission that could resolve the grievances of local communities with respect to mining operations.
Efa nanao tolo-kevitra tamin'ny fitondram-panjakana moa izy hoe anangana komity na komision anankiray izay hanao fanelanelanana eo amin'ireo vondron'olona ifotony sy ireo orinasa mpitrandraka rena akibon'ny tany izay miasa any amin'ny toerana samihafa eto Madagasikara mba ahafahana mandravona sy mandamina ny zava-misy.
And I hope to say more about that in my report.
Ao anatin'ny tatitra izay avoakany moa zany no ahitantsika ny andinindiny momba an'izay.
I'm not sure I see the contradiction. Madagascar has serious challenges that need to be further addressed in all kinds of areas.
Tsy hoe mifanohatra koa ny zavatra nolazainy zany fa manaiky izy fa eto Madagasikara dia mbola betsaka ny olana izay tokony hovahana ary tsy maintsy hovahana.
And I said, for example, that the government needs to do more to address corruption and illegal trafficking.
Ary izy moa zany dia tena nampatsiahy ny fitondram-panjakana hoe mbola betsaka ny ezaka tsy maintsy ataon'ny fanjakana amin'ny ady amin'ny kolikoly sy amin'ny ady amin'ny fanondranana antsokosoko ny harem-pirenen'i Madagasikara.
What I said was that I respect that the government has made commitments to take more effective measures in these respects.
Fa nolazainy teo dia hoe efa nisy engagement nataon'ny gouvernemanta mba hiadiana amin'ireo ary hanamafy ny ezaka amin'ny ady atao amin'izay.
And I say that the government needs to make sure that these steps. Let me start over. These steps will be good, but they need to be taken, and they need to be taken effectively and quickly.
Tsara zany le hoe nanao engagement izy ary miezaka izy fa ilaina hita soritra le ezaka atao ary ilaina tanterahana ao anatin'ny fotoana aingana dia aingana.
Detailed recommendations now, because I just finished my visit, and so I'm going to go back and look at the information again more carefully, look at other information, and try and provide more detailed recommendations in the report.
Tsy mbola afaka manome ny antsipirian'le recommandation mihiny aloha izy amin'izao satria vao vita zany ny fitsidihana nataony teto Madagasikara fa ny information rehetra namboniny teto zany dia mbola hotiniany akaiky ary tsy maintsy maka fotoana vitsivitsy mihitsy izy zany mba anaovany an'le tatitra izay ho ataony amin'ny komision'ny firenena mikambana ho an'ny zon'olombelona volana mars.
I just have 2 or 3 more minutes because then I have to go catch my flight. I think, many people I talked to outside the government and civil society, but also within the government, referred to the increase in illegal trafficking during the transition period and the way that that has contributed to corruption in the government institutions.
Madagascar ary izay zavatra izay koa dia nitarika ny fitombona sy ny fitarany kolikoly teo anivon'ny mpitondra sasatsasany.
So obviously this contributes to a loss of confidence, a loss of trust that these institutions can be effective.
Dia izay koa zany dia nitarika ohatran'ny tsy fatokisan'ny olona ny mpitondra fanjakana sy ireo manam-pahefana isan-taona.
And so there's really no alternative way to restore trust other than through demonstrating that illegal trafficking and corruption have been wiped out.
Tsy verina mihitsy ny fatokisan'ny vahoaka ny mpitondra fanjakana zany raha tsy hita mivahoaka soritra mazava tsara miezaka ataon'ny mpitondra anafoanana sy anakanana ny kolikoly sy ny famarotana atsokosoko ny harem-pirenen'i Madagasikara.
So I'm sorry, I probably just have one more question. So in my report, I will try to provide possible models or approaches that could serve as examples for this approach. So I don't have detailed proposals yet. And of course, it would be up to Madagascar to decide what would make most sense for Madagascar. But the general idea is simply to enable local communities to have their grievances heard in a non-confrontational manner so that they can be resolved before they escalate into bigger conflicts.
Any anatin'le tatitra izay nosoratany moa zany no tena hoe ho asiany antsipirian'izay ary isy modely maromaro izay eo apetrany ao tena marina Madagasikara mila manapa-kevitra hoe apetraka ve le izy satria dia ohatrany ahoana zany ny olona ao anatiny sy ny toerana isy azy sy ny anjara andraikitra fa ny hevitra natsipiny tamin'iny dia ny hoe apetraka zany io komisionna mpanelanelana ny mpitrandraka kibony tany sy mivondron'olona fotony io mba ahafahana miaino ny hevitry ny vondron'olona fotony izay mikasika ilay fitrandrahana ahafahan'izy ireo ihany koa maneho ny heviny ahafahan'izy ireo miteny hoe izao no tsy mety ary koa mba hoe le fandrenesana feony sy ny fanehoan'ny heviny zany tsy ataony any an-dalambe ary tsy ataony amin'ny alalan'ny fidinana an-dalambe intsony fa mba ao anatina sehatra anankiray izay manaraka ny lalàna ary koa mba ampilamina ny fandehan-javatra eny an-toerana.
And now I have to go or I will miss my plane.